Okay, guys, let's go through these. The first one, I think most people were good with the factors. Am I right? Like we were okay with the x plus 1, x minus 3, and x minus 4. Am I right? Everybody saw those? Okay. Which one of those factors should have multiplicity on it? The x plus 1. Yeah, guys, that's where the graph bounces off the x-axis, so that's the one that should have multiplicity. And should it be even or odd multiplicity? Even. So I'm going to write squared. If you had written to the 6th, you'd be right. Like, it's still even multiplicity, okay? If I don't tell you the degree, that's fine for you to do that. Okay, and the others you leave alone because it just crosses through nicely. But then we have this y-intercept and our end behavior to figure out. If I check my y-intercept just with what I have written so far, what would it be? 12. And I need it to be negative 24. Okay, so what do I have to multiply by to make that happen?
Negative 2.
Yep, so you just need a negative 2 for a leading coefficient. And that makes sense then that it's negative because the ends are both going down as well. Okay. And then last thing, guys, please make sure you write either y equals or f of x equals. When I ask you for an equation, actually write an equation, okay? Anybody questions on the first one? Yeah, you see it now? Okay. All right, then the second one. I told you x plus 3 is a factor. And then I want you to factor completely this polynomial. So that means start by dividing by the x plus 3. Long or synthetic division, whatever you like. I'm going to do synthetic. Did get 0 as my remainder, so I now have 6x squared minus x minus 12. Leading coefficient, you have to factor. We have to be able to do this, guys. So I'm looking at what multiplies to give me negative 72. That's that 6 times negative 12, and adds up to negative 1. What are the two numbers? Yep. So I rewrite this, 6x squared minus 9x plus 8x minus 12. I am just rewriting that middle term with the two numbers I picked. Everything else stays the same. Then I group. What can I take out of that first group? 3x, right? 2x minus 3. What am I taking out of the second group? 2x minus 3. Okay. If I'm writing f of x in factored form, I know I have 2x minus 3, and I know I have 3x plus 4 from what I just did. What is that third factor? Okay, good. We don't want to leave that one out. Okay? Questions? Anything at all? Okay, let's move on to our notes, guys. Last notes in skill 1. Do you need up here for a minute? I'll wait a second. Yeah, of course.
All right.
Good. Anybody else need it? guys, 1, 2, day 2. We are doing rational solutions today. So first thing we're going to talk about is possible rational solutions. This comes from a P over Q list. Okay. We're not going to write out like a big definition of this. I'm just going to show you what the P over Q list is and how it works, okay? So let's just try one. Let's say our f of x is equal to 2x cubed plus 11x squared minus 7x minus 6. All right, I didn't write you any directions, but we're going to find the possible rational solutions here, okay? So we're going to find the P over Q list. So the numerator of this, the P, that comes from the constant at the end. Factors of that give you the P list, okay? So what are the factors of 6? 2, 3, 6, 1, yeah. What about -1 and -6? Right, okay. So whether this is a positive or a negative number at the end, every time you make your P over Q list, you're going to say plus or minus and then list the factors, okay? Because it's always going to be both the positive and the negative. Well, I'm not going to give you one that big, but if whatever the number is, you have to come up with all the factors. So just go in order, like, I don't know, 32. You'd go 1 and 32, 2 and 16, 3 doesn't work, 4, 8. Like, just go in order so you don't skip anything. All right, then the Q part of this, the denominator of our fraction, that is factors of your leading coefficient. So that's where the Q's come from. Again, we would say plus or minus. What are the factors of 2? 1 and 2. Okay. Then we get to make all of our fractions. When you do this, please just be organized in how you do it. I like to do every numerator over the first denominator, then the numerators all over the second, or however many there are. Please don't just randomly name things like, oh, 1 over 1, 3 over 1, 6 over 2, 2. Like, don't go in some weird order, okay? Have a plan. Be organized. So plus or minus again, because we're combining these. 1 over 1 is 1. 2 over 1 is 2. 3 over 1 is 3. 6 over 1 is 6. And I'm moving on, 1 over 2, so I can write 1/2. What about 2 over 2?
That is 1.
Do I need to write it again? No, okay. 3 over 2. What about 6 over 2?
3.
Okay, so that's it, guys. That is your list. Possible rational solutions.
What is P?
The constant, the factors of the constant. Yep.
And then, so, get these numbers here. It's just,
The final answer?
yeah.
I'm just taking each numerator over the denominators and just making all the fractions that I can out of those numbers that I picked. What we're going to do with this in a little bit, if I asked you to solve f of x, like said, find all the solutions, you would then use these as a starting point for your synthetic division until you found something that worked. What do I mean by worked? Yeah, 0 is your remainder, and then you could factor and solve from there. So like in the warm-up, you know, I told you what one of the factors was. Here I wouldn't tell you. You would just have to use the list to find something that gave you a remainder of 0. And we're going to walk through that whole process, but that's what these are for. Okay? All right, so let's try again. I'm going to have you guys make a P over Q list just to make sure we've got it. Let's say g of x is 8x cubed plus 10x squared minus 11x plus 2. It's just a function. F of x, g of x, p of x, h of x, whatever I want to pick. All right, so you guys find the P over Q list, and then that's it. All right, guys, check with your neighbor if you agree with your list. You guys are just like silent nodding. Yes, we agree. That's all we do. Would you ask if it matters? Doesn't matter. Yep. As long as you have them all, that's all I care about.
I'm successful.
Yay! All right, guys. Here's what you should have.
I might overshot the moment.
You might be unsuccessful. That's it. Plus or minus 1, 2, 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. Yes? We can make our list. Okay, excellent. Now we're going to use the list. It's okay. All right, find all solutions. I'll give you. You're going to start the same way, but then you're actually going to solve this. Okay. I will walk you through it, don't worry. All right, so your f of x is 3x cubed minus 2x squared minus 12x plus 8. Okay, so we have to start with the P over Q list. So go ahead and do that. I'll write it up here. You can check when you're done. All right, guys, everybody okay with the P over Q list? Yeah. Okay, so what we're doing with this, now we get to try these with synthetic division. So, should we try 1?
Why not?
Sure, let's try 1. And guys, as you're testing it, like, I can tell at this point, this is not going to work, right? Like, there's no way I'm going to get 0 out of this. Okay, I just stop then and cross it out and go, okay, that's not it. No, there's no way I'm getting a -8 and then a 0 out of that. So I know 1 doesn't work. So then we try again. What do you want to try next?
2.
I like 2. Good choice. Okay with 2 working?
Yes.
Okay, that now brings it down to a quadratic, right? This is 3x squared plus 4x minus 4. So can I factor that? Yeah, I'm going to go up here so I've got a little more room. But yes, that factors. So what multiplies to give me -12 and adds up to 4? Okay, 6 and -2, right? All right, so I'm going to go 3x squared minus 2x plus 6x minus 4. Group. Can take an x out of that first group. Take a 2 out of the second one. Now, did I ask you to factor this completely this time? No. What did I ask you to find? Okay. So what are those solutions? So 2, that was the one we found with synthetic division. -2, and then what's the last one? 2/3. Okay. What do you notice about all those numbers? Were those all in my P over Q list?
Yeah.
They were, yes, okay. Questions on how that process works? Now guys, I'm not gonna give you ones with like a crazy long P over Q list, because if you don't guess well, essentially, with what to try in synthetic division, you could be sitting there forever trying all these different numbers. And if you miss a sign on the one that works, then it's just a disaster. So I won't give you like crazy big lists to try this with. Yeah.
Why is there a positive and negative?
Okay, so you're good with a -2, right? Okay. The +2 is the one we found over here in synthetic division.
Oh.
That's where the other one comes from. Yep.
Yeah.
So when we're solving this, what we're really doing, we're thinking about setting each of these factors equal to 0. So if I do 3x, you good from there? Yeah, add 2, divide by 3, that's where you're getting them from. Okay? Yeah.
Could any of those other P and Qs work?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So like, if you just find the right one that works, that's it, that's the answer?
Well, yeah, so you're going to find one that works in this case and then factor from there.
Okay.
You could have just done synthetic division over and over with them to find the rest.
Oh, okay.
The only time that, well, first, that'd just be kind of tedious to do that. Like, because fractions are not real fun to do with synthetic division. And if you happen to have imaginary solutions, those are not going to show up in this list. Okay? So, get it to a quadratic, solve with that. All right, let's try again. Sorry, guys. Again, the directions are find all solutions. Let's do f of x equals x to the 4th plus 2x cubed minus 9x squared minus 2x plus 8. All right, what do we need first? P over Q. I'm going to do this one with you again because do you guys see how this is 4th degree to start with? So when you find one that works with synthetic division, that will get you down to a cubic. That might not factor. So then we have to do it again. We always want to try to get it down to a quadratic so that we can successfully factor it. So I'll walk you through this one again, and then I'll let you try one. Since the leading coefficient is 1, I kind of already made the list, right? Yeah, okay, we like it when that leading coefficient is 1. What do you want to try? 4, okay. How's it going with 4? Sure. Try, guys. If anybody finds one that works, let me know. Two? Yes, 2 does work, guys, so let's try that. Sorry, 4 did not work. now this one, we now have it down to a cubic. Interestingly, this one does factor from cubic form, but let's not factor it. Let's pretend it doesn't, so I can show you what to do with the synthetic division. So we found one that works. We want to keep going. So all you have to do is synthetic division from these new numbers. You don't even have to rewrite it if you don't want to. Okay? I'm going to try 1 this time. So I am now at x squared plus 5x plus 4. We wanted to get to a quadratic, so we needed to divide again. We were at a cubic in the previous step. If you'd written this step right here, the 1, 4, -1, -4, that's x cubed plus 4x squared minus x minus 4. And a lot of your cubics won't factor, so you want to keep going to try to get to a quadratic. Yeah.
Is the second step division the one that you're like dividing by? Is that just another one of these numbers?
Yes. Yep. Now I would look at it and go, it's probably not going to be 8 or -8 because this new list would have that in it. Like if I look at this as a new constant at the end, so you can kind of eliminate from there. But there's a lot of just guessing and trying. Okay, factoring this. Guys, no leading coefficient. You should be very fast at factoring that. What is it? Okay. Now, again, I didn't ask you to factor completely. I just want all solutions. So what does x equal? Okay. I think I heard them all. 2, 1, -4, -1. Okay. It was a 4th degree polynomial, so it should make sense that we have 4 solutions at the end. Okay. So remember these guys over here that we used with our synthetic division that worked? Those are solutions. Yep. And then factoring gives you the other solution. Okay. Let's try again. Make sure everybody's got this written down. I'll give you a new one. What? So you know what to pick from to try for synthetic division. I mean, you're still guessing, but at least you're only guessing from 8 numbers instead of just unlimited numbers.
That's very true.
Helps a little bit. All right. Again, find all solutions. Let's do f of x equals 2x to the 4th plus 7x cubed plus x squared minus 7x minus 3. So you guys are doing the whole thing this time. Find your P over Q list and find all solutions. So I'll give you a minute here. Yeah, just sign yourself out. There you go. Perfect. forget, you have, it's a plus or minus Q or Q list. You've got negatives you can use. With 8 things in here, right?
Oh, that's right. So there's good ways of
And you don't know that it's a real solution. So you get it. Right, is plus or minus.
I didn't. I was.
Yeah, it does. All right, guys, depending on what order you went with, which numbers you picked for your synthetic division, your factoring might look different than mine. But I am to 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. So I need a 6x. All right, guys, so I get to the end with my factors, but what are my actual solutions? Good. 1, -1. You can certainly write plus or minus 1, that's fine. -3 and -1/2. Again, you might have picked a totally different order to do your synthetic division with. Like maybe you didn't pick 1 and -1. That's fine. As long as you get there in the end. Those are your answers. Okay, we feel all right about that process? Okay. One more sort of concept to do here. No more dividing for now. Now we're going to do some multiplying. I think I'm on number 6. All right, you're going to write a polynomial function with real coefficients using the given solutions. All right, your given solutions for this first one are -3, 4, 2i. So jot it down and then I'll walk you through this one.
What is that? Real.
Coefficients. I abbreviated, sorry. All right, so imaginaries. Do you guys remember how imaginaries always come in pairs? Imaginary solutions? Okay, they were called conjugates of each other. Forgot that word. So if I tell you 2i is one of the solutions, what's the other one that is also there? Yeah, -2i. So I'm just going to write that underneath. All right, and then we're going to write a function. So f of x equals... Okay, forget about the i's for a minute. If you just knew the -3 and the 4, this is kind of like your warm-up where you knew the x-intercepts and then you could write the equation in factored form. What factors would you tell me from the -3 and the 4?
X plus 3.
Exactly. X plus 3 and x minus 4. Right? It's just x minus whatever the solution is. Okay? So we're going to keep doing that, but with the imaginaries. So I'm going to have x minus 2i, and I'm going to have x plus 2i because it's minus a negative. All right, we're not quite done, but that's an important first step there. So that's your polynomial in factored form. But I said to write it with real coefficients. What that means is that you need to multiply just enough so that all the imaginaries are gone, okay? So the x plus 3 and the x minus 4, there's no imaginary numbers there. You don't need to do anything with those. We leave those alone. But I do need to multiply out these last two parentheses. However you like to multiply, if you want to draw the box, go for it. If you FOIL, if you distribute, whatever you call it, that's fine. I'm just going to do x times x, which is x squared. X times 2i would be plus 2xi. X times -2i would be minus 2xi. And my last term is minus 4i squared. Okay, so final step, we're just going to simplify that. So x plus 3, x minus 4, again, we're just leaving that alone.
2x
That says 2xi, yeah. Do you see where that comes from? Okay. It just looks weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's going to happen to the 2xi's? They are gone, yeah. So I've got x squared, and then those are gone. Now, minus 4i squared. The only thing, you're not going to have to draw out your little I clock or any of that stuff from Algebra 2. But do you remember what I squared is equal to? -1. Okay, jot that down if you don't remember. I squared is -1. So this is really -4 times -1. So what is that going to be in my answer? Plus 4. Okay. Questions on that one?
Is there?
I'm sure. All right, let's try another one. Same directions, different solutions that you're starting with this time. We've got -1, 5, and then 3 plus I. So I'm going to walk you through this one too, because this is a little different. This one's a little more complicated because it's a binomial with your imaginary term. This is what it's going to look like on your assessment next week, okay? So pay attention. So if I have 3 plus I, what's the other solution that I know is there? 3 minus I, okay. All right. So we start the exact same way. F of x equals, my first 2 factors are easy. What are those going to be? Good. Or maybe I can write the right thing. Okay. Now, let me just show you. You don't have to write it this way every time, but I want to make sure you see where this is coming from. So again, I'm going to do x minus the solution. So x minus, and then I'm going to put it in parentheses, 3 plus I. That's the whole solution. And then also x minus, in parentheses, 3 minus I. This is just to make sure you don't mess up a negative. Okay? You'll start to see some patterns and figure things out. But for step 1 here, we're going to write it that way. All right, so next one, x plus 1, x minus 5, that's fine, leave those alone. If I try to get rid of those parentheses in this next one, do you guys see how that's going to be x minus 3 minus I? Just distributing in the negative. Okay. What's the last one going to be? X what? Yep, x minus 3 plus I. Pause there for a second. I want to make sure we're good. If you don't see something, let me know. And then what do you think I have to do? Yeah, multiply those 2 lovely things together. So it's just kind of tedious, okay? You can use the box method if that keeps you more organized. I always just, it's not really FOIL because there's 3 terms in each, but I distribute. So I'm going to take the x times everything and then the -3 times everything. So that's what I'm going to write up here. You multiply how you need to multiply. you're ready to look, that's mine. Looks like a lot. Are we ready to make it prettier? Make it simplified? All right, so f of x, I've got my x plus 1, my x minus 5. Okay, here I know I've got an x squared, and then I can see that I've got a negative 3x and a negative 3x. So that'll be minus 6x. But then what do you notice? Xi's cancel out. Anything else? Yep. Okay. And what is minus I squared actually equal to? Plus 1. Okay. So plus 10 at the end. And you're done. It's a little nicer looking. All right. Anybody anywhere in that you're like, what in the world just happened? You just need a second. Okay, that's fine. It's one of those where if you look away and then look back at the board, you're like, what? Where did that all come from? And then we're just doing one more example, guys. Let's try one more. So same directions, we won't write those again. Your x's are 4 and 2 minus I. You guys are trying this one. Sure. Okay. It's a lot. So is why this graph graphed it, even though it's forced to reach the across the x-axis. Yes. That's okay. Because this is right.
Oh, okay.
So once you multiply by the island,
Oh,
it should be something that is not factorable because
I'm just pretty sure it's just like that.
yeah, because it should be like
Yeah, okay.
right. Because one of them will be plus size. Did we just sort it there? Yep. Getting there. Okay. Once you simplify this, multiply all of that. So, sorry if you have to you're doing. Negative. Do you see it? Yeah. It looks like it. Yeah, so I think that's just a right. Yeah, just the rest is right. The hard part is right. Yeah, that I made stuff up. Let's see what happens. Okay, we're just missing X's. So, like, you saw that it should be minus. That's what we were talking about. Okay. Man. Mad dash for the passes today. All right, guys, I'm going to start going through this. I know a couple of you are still finishing up. That's okay. That is where we should end up. Now guys, a lot of you were very tempted to factor what's on the right there. It doesn't factor though, okay? It just feels like it should, but it does not factor. There's nothing that multiplies to give you 5 and adds up to -4. Once you've multiplied out these imaginary solutions, what you get should not ever factor, okay? Questions? All right, so that is the end of your notes. I'm going to pass out a worksheet. I'm going to have you skip a few on the worksheet. And then I also posted a Delta Math review for you. It's due 8 a.m. the day of your test, so a week from Friday, a week from tomorrow. That's just up there in case you wanted to start on it over the weekend. If you know next week is looking busy, maybe you want to get a head start on it, but it's not due until Friday of next week. All right? So let's get the worksheet out, and then I'll tell you which ones to skip. Yes. There's no Delta Math for this one. Did you start to get there?
Yeah. I said that.
Homework.
Yep, this is your homework.
What are the problems we have to skip?
I will let you know.
Okay.
Let's skip all of them. Can we skip all of them? I give you the worksheet. It's a decent number of them. There's actually more than that. All right, guys, skip 3, 5, and 6 off the front. So that's half of them on the front. And then on the back, skip 8 and 9.